for you? I mean, just besides the score,
result, yeah.
what did you do right?
No, well, I think what I said, someone asked me during the week, said, like, what are you looking to get out of the game? And I said, I need a reaction. I need to see whether the players they can't just talk after last week and say, geez, guys, we've let each other down. And he said, how are you going to check? I said, the only way I'll check is when 80 minutes is finished. And you're not going to get, you're not going to get much more than that. You always want the perfect game as a coach. But I mean, to score 60 points, probably have 2 or 3 tries disallowed and, and ripped out on the try line. I mean, that could all of a sudden be 80 points. Now, there's no ways you score 80 points in a URC game and not play well. So, I still, as I said, you're always critical about things. I think that I wouldn't really have liked to have leaked 3 tries like we did. But, I mean, there was a lot of fight in the end there to make sure they didn't get another one, So, yeah, you want a reaction. I mean, you want good teams, and when they lose a game the next week, they almost take it out on the next opposition, and I think that's what we saw today.
Yeah, you were 40 points up after 46 minutes. It's almost a point a minute. Not much to complain about.
And a couple of disallowed, because they could have quite easily been more,
Exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean, coaches are never happy, let's be fair, But and it makes a statement. Last week that team beat Stormers in Cape Town. They obviously came with a massive high. And I'm not sure what Toby said, but he said to me, very humble because we played well today. And I spoke to the ref. Afterwards he said, geez, it was amazing. He thought we were going to go direct, and when he looked again, we were going around them, and we were flying down the side of the field. So that says a lot, because that's why we want to play. We always want to make sure that we have variation to our game. We want to make sure that people, they expect us to play with our forwards, because we've got to be good enough to do that. But we've also got to be good enough to, when you expect us to play with our forwards, to play with our backs. And I think we got that balance, nice tonight.
Jake, probably the most impressive aspect was the way you changed good defence into counter-attack. Was it part of a plan or a natural course of
Well, I think, to be fair, that's probably what most teams are trying to do, is that whole transition of when you defend well and you get turnover ball, because that's when it's the most unstructured. And you guys would appreciate Kanan, Kirtley, Villy, David Creel. If that thing opens up, then we can and Emrose, exactly. Then all of a sudden you can carve teams, And so, it's not, I suppose, not a secret that every team is trying to do that. A lot of teams now are looking at football and do analysis of football, and the reason is because football, the ability of a footballer to go from defence to attack, or from attack to defence, is something that a lot of sports people are writing about, and that's what rugby's probably trying to catch up on, is how quickly you get the ball back when you're defending, and how long you can keep it when you're attacking. So, I'm not giving too many trade secrets away. That's what all teams are trying to do, is make sure that you can create as much attacking ability from defence.
Jake, this week I think you said you wanted to see how someone like Luke went in terms of calling the line out.
Yes.
I probably lost track in the second half of it with the writing, but were you happy with the outcome?
Very good. I mean, one of the things I was concerned about is he's young. Called a line out last week against a really experienced Munster pack. Today, Adam Beard he's a British line, and he's tall, and he can really put your line out under pressure. And I thought the learnings he got last week, he took into this week, and our line out was relatively strong. I don't think we lost too many, and if we did, it was low count. So that's probably one area that I think we need to grow in. We can't just put all our eggs in one basket with Ruan Nokia. And he's been out for a while, and it's nice to see a nice youngster coming through and being confident that even in a game like this where we were under pressure. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We're under pressure. We couldn't afford to lose 2 games at Loftus, and for him to have done what he did, game-wise, management-wise, calling the line-outs, it's only going to make him better and better going forward.
And a guy like David Creel, I think he's probably had a hand in about 4 of the tries.
Yeah.
I don't know if including his own. What do you do with a guy like that? Because obviously you find yourself having to move him around.
Yeah.
Do you do you just keep going, or do you try and settle down in terms of where you'd like to
Well, again, I almost like feel when I sit here, it's the thing I have a philosophy about. I would like to get backs that can play in different positions. And David's played wing, fullback, 12, 13. Kanan's played, 13, 14, 15. Kirtley's played 15, 14, 11. I think the way the game's going now, the more guys you can get that can, because it's in multi-phase, exactly what Chris was asking me now, is that ability to change, transition from defense to attack. And if the number on your jersey is irrelevant, then you as adept and as skillful as you need to be in that situation. In saying that, I thought Nazam added a lot more to our attack basis, that he was so good on the edge tonight as well. So, and obviously forwards need to have numbers on their backs, but the more backs you can have that can interchange, get to first receiver, second receiver, maybe even get to the edge. And David does that well. I was happy for him that he's been playing 12 for a long time now. I moved him to 13, and to be man of the match, only going to do him well to know that he can double up from week to week in different positions.
Coach, you spoke about Canon Moody. I seem to notice when he came off, he was limping a bit.
Yeah.
Is there an injury there, or is it just...
No, it's just precautionary. He's got a sore knee, and it's one of those, as soon as we knew that we had got the points, rather than keep him out there, just take him off. He's important to us. So, he's not injured at all. I obviously just felt a little bit sore. His knee has been playing up, but we've got 2 weeks off now without games. I don't want to say 2 weeks off as we're not at work, but we're not going to play for 2 weeks. So hopefully the next sort of 14 days will get him to get his knee to recover.
And just again on David Krill, it seemed to be in the centre of everything good that the Bulls were doing. Do you think 13 is his best position, and do you feel vindicated now with that switch in positions? Now that he's put out that performance and had the whole team functioning basically.
When he had him and Stedman together, they looked very good as well. And he was 12 and Stedman was 13. So, again, I'm not for 1 minute saying that Kanan can't play 13. The more time, it's very difficult. Kanan came to us late after the World Cup, wasn't in the pre-season, had to have 3 weeks off after the road show. So he was way behind when he actually got to us. And I'm talking about from a combinations point of view. But I'm not fazed about David playing 12 or 13. David with Stedman, and I'm sure David with Kanan going forward is going to be as good for us as Harold was tonight with David.
The loss of Goosen was a big setback, was unexpected, but Chris Smith stepped up tonight. He played very well. I was impressed with him.
I think the nice thing about him, he's got about almost 50 games, and so by this, what we've done over the last couple of years is we've created an environment where if you're the second choice fly-off, and I want to compare myself to other teams, but it's a fact. Not many other franchises that got their second choice fly-off has got 50 games, or almost close to 50 games. So it's one of those things you can never plan. But I was confident today that he's been there, played. He's played in big games, beat Leinster in the semi-final. So it's not like we've taken him out of nowhere and put him into that situation. And that is a secret to why I think we've improved this year, is because when we've used guys that have got experience like him, it makes us so much stronger. And when you guys, Ludwig and Cameron, and it's only going to get better and better. By this time next year, hopefully those guys have got 20 odd games each, and then by the following year sort of 50, 60 games each, and then the picture looks the same as it does for other teams. And one of the things that you guys would know when you see the team is 188 games for Leinster, or 175 games for Ulster, or 250 games for Connacht. That's where we've got to try and get to. And when you get results like that with guys learning on the ground, it makes it so much easier for us to develop that player.
The nice thing about him is the fact that you would have expected a more forwards-based game, like you mentioned in the beginning, and it actually ended up being the opposite. The backline was much more impressive than we might have expected.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't want to slate the other guy. I don't think it's more impressive, but I just think the balance was so good, and I think the expectation everyone thought without Goosen is we might go the other way. So there was a bit of a surprise element there as well. I don't think people expected us to play the way we did
Yes.
without Hussen. But then again, credit to Chris Rousseau for the way we attacked, and credit for the way that a guy like Ludwig understands the lineouts, because we didn't just try and maul everything. I think we mauled a couple in the beginning. They thought we were going to maul everything, and then the next play we almost scored from first phase because they expected the maul, and they were obviously all sucked into that lineout. So I think the variation of the way we attacked also helped Chris, as in Smith, to make the right calls.
Jake, 5 of your 9 tries, and I suppose penalty try could have been the 6th one, will come from your back 3. It's nice to see them coming into form at the right time of the season as well. And Vili, I know everyone talking about David, and he was very impressive, but some of those soft touches from Vili were sublime to watch.
Sometimes irritating. Sometimes the soft touches went into touch, or the soft touches went into no man's land. But that's, when he knows that's the reward and risk you take with a player like him. When he's on fire, and I sort of look at him and I go, geez, I just wish you would understand. But it's not for him to understand, it's for players around him to understand that he could do it for you. In other words, he could flick it on without saying anything. He could look at you and flick it on. And that only comes when people play around him and play off him more and more often. So it is. When he plays for you, it doesn't look too bad. When he plays against you, it's irritating.
You must be also very happy with Kurt's second try, just the acceleration of Ambrose and Kurt off the set piece. That was nice.
Well, I think Ambrose playing really well, to be fair. Ambrose is probably not getting the accolades as a group from us of what he's offering us. He's a handful. And kid critical. He taps that free kick or that penalty, and he runs and he gets the ball turned over. But if he goes and scores, then we all tap him on the back. So he's definitely, his game's gone from here to there. And when he's on fire, because he's so quick and he's got such good feel, then the backs can play around him. The ball's got to go from him to the outside, and what he's doing, Brendan, is outstanding.
Just you say now you got 2 weeks off. Next one's Glasgow. It doesn't get any bigger. That could be top tonight.
Well, it does. It gets to Leinster, it gets to Toulouse away, and it gets to.
I
saw they won. And they top of the log now. And unless Leinster pull off a win tonight, I'm not sure what's going to happen. They could be first, so it ends up the next game could be us against them, which is obviously massive, because you want to play as many home games into this competition as you can. I think what I said to the media now on the field afterwards, I think what this result does, it means we're in the 8. What the next 3 result is how long do we play in Pretoria in this competition, and that's what the nice thing is to play for in the next couple of weeks. We've got 2 at Loftus, 1 in Durban. We're in the 8, so the first box has been ticked. We're now in the playoffs. And now it's about working out, as in performance-wise, on how far we want to play at home. It can happen. We win all 3 games, and the other teams, and we could end up playing a final in Pretoria. So, and if it doesn't happen because we win all 3 and the other teams win, and we end up having to come 2nd or 3rd, then that's the way it is. But at least now the first hurdle's has been achieved, and that is to make the top 8. That means Europe next year. That means in the top 8 again for the 3rd year in a row. Now it's just about making sure we can, as I said, make sure we can make it as easy for ourselves or as difficult for ourselves that we don't prepare.